All right, welcome back to Business AM. This is where we're actually going to settle down now and tell you exactly what it is that you're waking up to in the economy as we know of it today. Good. Now, just before we actually get to discussing some of the biggest issues that we have this morning, we have Ogwang Omuga in the studio this morning. Welcome, sir.
Handshake.
As well as handshake. Has to happen, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. I just want us to, before we get discussing the biggest issues of waking up to this morning, is that Kenyans now have to know exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Is that KRA is hitting them left, right, and center with the tax adjustments that we're waking up to this morning. Now, Richie, if you can actually help me with the full frame graphics that we're talking about this morning. Now, let's just go over it. Now, input declaration fee, IDF, has been increased from 2% to 3.5%. Good. Number two, railway development levy, also risen from 1.5% to 2%. Good. Motor vehicles, excise duty on petrol vehicles over 3,000 cc, as well as diesel engine vehicles over 2,500 cc, is now at 35%. Now, for the vehicles that are over 1,500 cc, we are now talking about 25% from 20%, which is pretty much 5% increase. Now, excise duty has also been introduced on bottled water. This is a contagious one. There was a court process that was going on that was actually looking to stop them from introducing this. They've gone ahead, they've introduced it, which is going to say now customers buy all these non-alcoholic beverages at 7 shillings more. Good. As from yesterday. Good. Excise duty on cigarettes and wines is up to 26%. And if you remember, the manufacturers actually wrote to the president directly. They actually wrote to him and told him, we do understand, is that when you started 2019-2020 financial year, you did increase our tax base on this. If you dare increase it again to 21%, you're going to kill us. Now, what we're saying, collectively, it's going to up also by 44.5%. Think about it. All right. Now, gas cylinders locally, they want to encourage that. We're talking about if you're going to import gas, you have to pay 35% import duty, up from 20%, so 15% increase. Now, digital transactions, really good, isn't it? Will also be subject to a value-added rate at 16%. And remember, this is also under mobile money transactions, which in 2019-2020 was also hit with an increase in tax. Now, for micro, small and medium enterprises, the tax one will require you to pay a turnover tax at the rate of 3%. Good. Now, Kenyans are going to wake up and they're going to find this new adjustment is that somebody was already planning to buy their vehicles before the end of the year. If your vehicle was 1 million, then you have to pay 1.5 million now. If your vehicle was 2 million, then you have to think about adding 437,000, but actually up to 700,000 extra in the valuation of that. My question is this, therefore. It is just after the financial year 2019-2020. I mean, we're just a couple of months into it. And we're seeing the government turn around and actually now start imposing these taxes on the economy. What do you make of them? What situation is this that the government is trying to address? And even to the point that when we cry to the president himself, to tell him, look, you need to caution us from this. He doesn't listen. No, he doesn't. Signs it into a bill. Now they're back into effect. What do you make of all these taxes?
What we make of all of this, Simba, is that we are at a catch-22.
Yes.
Whereby government has realized it has overpromised. The president has realized he was over-ambitious to begin with.
Yes.
Not taking into account the feasibility potentials of the Kenyan economy.
Yes.
And what we need to do as at now, so as not to appear as someone who has failed in his own agenda, the president needs, he is in a position whereby he's clutching on straws that I wish to generate, I want to realize revenue from every possible sense. The good thing or the worst thing here is we are overstretching. You know, it's just like milking a cow that you're not feeding.
Yes.
If you over milk that cow, at some point, milk will stop coming from the udder, and then what you'll be getting is either fluid or blood. So we are in a point whereby Kenyans are beginning now to release fluids or blood. And as the taxman, and the taxman is really relying on the misconception of the middle class in Kenya, whereby everyone has this thing that if I own a car today, then my status for some strange reason has changed.
Yes.
And the people that are actually owning cars are entering into debts to own cars. So which means I'm entering into two ditches, so to speak. That is the problem that we have. We have an economy that is not robust enough. I don't know if the loans that we have been seeking out for, we have been turned down. But as of now, we are really looking at, can we get money from whichever source? We don't care if we are hurting our own people. We don't care if you guys will be going to sleep on empty stomachs.
Yes.
But can we get money to meet the developmental agendas and the big four agenda of the president?
Yes.
So as at now, the president is in this place whereby the president is actually, and I wouldn't want to say the president per se. Let me just call it the entire administration of the president. The presidency. The administration is looking at, we have an opportunity to get it right with this thing of, this is the legacy of the presidency. This is the legacy of this administration. And in us meeting that legacy, then at some point we are forced to incur more. The challenge that we have here is, the administration ought to look at, in what ways can we make the economy robust? I've always been saying here that the challenge is not the taxes. I don't care paying taxes. You can charge me as much taxation as you want, as long as you've created an enabling environment for me to thrive.
Yes.
If people can thrive, we'll even come and propose taxes ourselves. The problem here is we are not even in a position whereby the economy is robust. The economy is robust only to the 1% of the people who are Kenyans here.
Yes.
Yes, Simba.
And that's exactly what it is we're talking about. And I just want us to look at exactly these areas that the government is targeting. When you look at it, and I want us to look at it really critically from this perspective. Digital transactions, which have been on the rise. And we do know that Kenyans are actually now on the digital end.
Yes, yes.
Number two, we are also looking at the vehicles that they're targeting.
Yes.
It is it's just 1,500 cc and over 3,000 cc. And we're also looking at gas, which has also been a contagious issue, and the government is actually now pushing to have more Kenyans use gas in the country.
Yes.
They're also going that direction.
Yes, yes.
On the other side as well, they're pushing for the development of the MSME sector.
Yes, yes.
But now you have to pay another turnover tax at the rate of 3%. In another way, you're looking at it in this sense. Is the government therefore looking at the areas where they think they can get money, or they're sort of trying to create an environment to generate more money, but in the essence that they're going to revise it over and over again, over and over again.
Yes,
because under manufacturing, you have beverages and non-alcoholic drinks and alcoholic drinks. Then we're talking about 44.5%. Listen to that again.
Okay.
We are looking at micro, small, medium enterprises. The government will tell you we're coming up with Stabby product and all that. You have to pay in it. We are creating an enabling environment for you, but we need 3% out of that. We are looking at areas like cigarettes and wines. Now we're talking about 44.5 as well. It's not the first time. We did see an increase in mobile money transactions. Now they've coined another word other than around that area, digital transactions.
Yes.
Which we are going to see another tax increase in that area. Are we desperate? It's coming out like that.
I would wish to say it's our economy and our appetites and our lifestyle that now people would wish to transact over e-commerce platform.
Yes.
And so which means the traditional market space is actually not generating as much.
Yes.
And so the e-commerce platform is trying to prove us very agile. It's very amorphous. Today I can transact from my house. And government has noticed that many people are now transacting through the e-commerce platform.
Yes.
E-commerce, digital transaction is merely e-commerce transaction.
Yes.
And digital transaction, actually e-commerce would have would have narrowed it down. But when we put digital transaction, then it comes even to paying school fee. You know, the things that we are doing now online. Yes. Yeah. Now we are stretching this net wide.
As opposed to mobile money,
mobile money.
Digital transaction.
Digital transaction encompasses every other thing. Because even as at now, there are people who are buying cars digitally. You can just transact.
You can just transact and then the car is there.
And that brings in another point. Could the government also be looking at cryptocurrency? Because people have always been asking that. The reason why cryptocurrency is actually growing is government has not come up to speed to fit into the cryptocurrency space. But now, with the digital transaction, now we are trying to look at, then can we even get transaction over what people are now? Because cryptocurrency is the in thing.
Yes.
Over 100,000 people in Kenya today are transacting crypto.
Yes.
Yes.
Question is this. I mean, when we look at these taxes, it's just on baseline. When we look at exactly now this digital transaction that we're talking about here, we're talking about vehicles and all that, we're talking about import declaration. Don't you think now what we're going to see next is these manufacturers, these money holders telling us that we're going to increase the prices, yes, which is going now to have a trickle-down effect to every aspect of the economy, whether they like it or not. It is justifiable now for everybody within the economy as of now to say, due to ABCD, we are going to adjust our prices. Is that not what we're going to see next?
That is actually the logical effect.
Yes.
Because I'm an entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur always doesn't pay taxes.
Yes.
An entrepreneur passes down these taxes so that my margin is not affected.
Yes.
Yes. I don't have no problem, but the problem is I will need to move on these taxes. Even when I'm factoring my pricing policies, then I factor in taxation. An entrepreneur in whichever space, entrepreneurs always wishes to maintain their bottom line constant. And that would mean that most of us will need to review our pricing model. So that just like you have said, when a car 1,500 cc, majority of Kenyans own 1,500 cc. You know,
and you know, that's what I'm telling you. It's really pegged on that.
Majority of us,
it's 1,500 cc.
1,500. Majority of cabs, actually Kenyans nowadays are just buying 1,500 cc, and then you have it as a side hustle. This is my cab. So that fits into that market. But an entrepreneur will always want to maintain their bottom line constant. So that would mean that let me move this taxation and let me factor it in my pricing model.
And that's exactly what we expect next.
And that is what is next.
Isn't it? December is coming.
In December,
gas cylinders at 35%. It's not good times.
No,
so you can imagine Unga at 135 and a gas cylinder that you get for 800 shillings. Now you're going to get it at around 970.
That's a lot.
Not good times for Kenyans, I can tell you, isn't it? All right, let's just cross over therefore. Next to another big issue now. Now, the question that I'm asking this morning is that will be merging anti-counterfeit agencies help curb substandard goods in the country? Now, the government plans to unify or bring together Kenya's anti-counterfeit bodies to curb substandard goods in the market. Now, the move targets to form a larger organization which will encompass the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, SCA, Kenya Industrial Property Institute, KEBS, and KEBS. Now, the war against counterfeit and substandard goods rages on after KEBS recently banned certain peanut butter products over excess aflatoxin content. Now, CS Peter Munya told the National Assembly that they are looking or relooking at the agencies that are fighting counterfeits and substandard goods in the country with a view to merging them into one entity. The merger will allow a unified approach in the fight against substandard goods. Now, Kenya's substandardization agency, that is KEBS, suffers from inadequate workforce, that is one, which has undermined its effectiveness. A lot of questions arise from this merging. Number one, has KEBS failed? And if it has, will merging unions that are anti-counterfeit work in a different way? And will they use what KEBS hasn't used so far? And what are they going to put in place? The question is this: are we pretty much saying this morning that merging agencies is going to be the magic bullet? Because these agencies work, they complement each other.
Sure.
And their roles are well specified.
Sure.
So when Munya tells us, look, we are going to merge these entities, what are we going to talk about? What are you addressing? Are you addressing capacity? Are you addressing efficiency?
Very good question. I followed that proceeding
Yes.
actually on Metropole
Yes.
a few days ago. And the rate of ignorance, even on the learned minister himself, is very appalling. I didn't like the way he was dressing down the various heads of the parastatal.
It's a known thing for him to do that.
Yeah, at some point, he was even asking those people,
Yes.
so what is counterfeit? You know, the ordinary Mwananchi does not know what is counterfeit. You know, you don't do that under the glare of the camera and in proximity with the parliamentarians.
Yes.
That was bad. But all my life, I've been dying for this question. I've been living, waking up every morning for this question. What is a counterfeit? And what is a fake product? And what is a substandard product? Because a counterfeit is not a substandard product. That is what people have never gotten right from the get-go. When we talk of a counterfeit product is a legit product that only misleads the consumer by diluting the trademark
Yes.
of another organization.
Yes.
So counterfeit is not a substandard product. And the moment we ban counterfeit products, we are banning evidence. And that is the error that we are making. And I see government people lifting up flyers and shouting that today we have banned products worth this much. And I'm like, Christ Jesus, what's the problem with these people? Because once someone has counterfeited another one's product, you are banning the evidence that this other company can use in restitution legally. So a counterfeit product is not a substandard product. You remember those days we used to have a radio called Sony?
Yeah.
S-O-N-Y.
S-O-N-Y.
And then someone entered the same market space
Yes.
with Sony, S-O-N-N-Y. Another person entered with another radio company called S-U-N-N-Y and S-U-N-Y. Those are very legit products that are counterfeiting the trademark of Sony to take advantage of the ignorance of the consumer to buy their product. So a counterfeit product is not a substandard product. A counterfeit product is not a fake product. A counterfeit product is actually a legit product. Even nowadays, all these things that people are buying, very few companies today are running out their assemblies. Very few companies are running out their manufacturing department. What all these people are doing is that all these people are merely licensing their trademarks to companies that are manufacturing.
Yes.
So chances are where I will get this glass, I can touch a name on this glass and call it Simba. I will get the same glass and attach it the name Ogwang. It's the same glass. So a counterfeit is not a substandard product. So the question here is, when we are dealing with substandard products,
Yes.
whom should we be addressing these questions to? It is not KIPI. KIPI does not deal with standardization. KIPI merely deals with that, can I go and seek registration?
Yes.
Can I register my trademark? Can I register my patent? Can I register my industrial design? When it comes to copyright, purely it's dealt with by Kenya Copyright Board. So when we are looking at substandard products, products that do not meet the threshold of human consumption,
Yes.
then we should be asking tough questions to KEBS. Merging these organizations will only tend to maximize and multiply the confusion of operations that already exist.
And that's exactly what it is we're talking about.
And that is what we are talking
That's
about.
now clear.
Yes.
That's clear. I also want to throw a damper in whatever Munya is really trying to say yesterday.
Right.
Look, we've tried to address, and I don't want to go into areas of counterfeit and substandard and illegal products into the country, because there is certification that is issued on point of origin, and KEBS keeps on telling us that we are making our operations now easier to the point that you don't need to be issued with another certificate when your products get to the port. No, is that we have agents and agentry services in the point of origin. Everybody does know that when you're going to import your product, you make an order.
Sure.
And KEBS just last year, they were announcing that we are making it smoother now. We want to issue with a certificate of compliance from the point of origin. In this sense, that we know the products that are coming in, we know what is in those containers even before they are on the way here.
Sure.
Then why do we turn around? After you putting down these frameworks of where these products are coming from, that they need to be inspected, they need to be cleared from the point of origin. Then why are we talking about substandard products and counterfeit goods when in reality you're telling us from the point of origin we are going to clear you and give you a certificate of compliance? Don't we say it's not just the operation perspective, it is just because we want them to come in, whether we were calling them substandard or counterfeit?
No, the problem here is, I did, one of the subjects I loved in high school was literature. And in studying literature, there is one component that authors use. It's called passage of time.
Yes.
When a commodity takes 3 months in the sea, on the high seas, to get here, then does that affect the quality of that product when it arrives at the point of order? Point of origin notwithstanding, we have passage of time. Does that passage of time affect the quality of that product?
Yes.
By and large, that is what has been affecting our maize, because they're saying that as this maize gets from Mexico all the way to Kenya, it takes 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
During that 3 to 4 months, this maize gets moisture, sea moisture. This and then there's the change of atmospheric change, atmospheric pressure. There's the change of environment. There's the change of climate and weather.
Yes.
So that passage of time is what largely affects perishable products.
Yes.
But it does not affect imperishable product. A TV, whether you get it from China to here, if that TV is packaged accurately, appropriately, then that passage of time does not come into place. The challenge here is, have we ever factored the passage of time in us transmitting this thing from one point of origin to the point of order?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's exactly where the brain starts beating us,
the
isn't it?
major challenge is there. And then when it comes to this point, the other challenge is we have unscrupulous business people and people who are regulators who actually allow some of these products to enter into Kenya.
Yes.
Yes, Simba.
So are we saying that his plan, therefore, to merge these 3 bodies is just well dead off even before he begins?
When you merge people who are dishonest, they will be all more dishonest.
Yes.
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 That's what I'm thinking. If you merge epileptic people, they'll just be all epileptic. I'm not saying that epilepsy is not. It's just an example that I'm using. If you merge people with leprosy, they will just get defiled all the more.
Yes.
So what we are trying to do here is, can we get rid of bad agents within the entire system? Because if we have clean agents, people who are actually taking their job seriously, then even some of these things that people are going through will not happen.
Yes.
Yes, Simba.
And that's exactly where we start talking about this one.
Yes,
now, Tracy, I think you can take us to our last item this morning, which I think I just want us to leave Zimbabwe alone,
Okay.
isn't it, for some time,
Okay.
and then go to our last issue, which is another biggest issue this morning. We're talking about Kenya's taste of tea in Lesotho. Good. Now, some good news now, all right, to Kenya. All right, there's a delegation from the South African nation, Lesotho. It's now clear that it'll start buying tea directly from Kenya. Speaking at Ngorongo Tea Factory in Kiambu, Lesotho Minister for Agriculture, Simone Letsane, said his country would collaborate with the Kenyan government in the purchase of tea, although it also intends to start growing its own tea. It does not grow tea, a move that is aimed at creating employment for its people. Now, value-wise thinking, Ngorongo Tea Factory General Manager George Mugo said that they have also discussed an open trading window where they can export processing and bulk tea to the Lesotho market. This is good news for our Kenyan farmers.
Okay.
But I want us to approach this issue from this perspective. Everybody did celebrate about the African Free Trade Area.
Yeah.
Right now, tea farmers in the country are crying of the worst bonuses in a decade. But when we look at the tea chain value, we are nowhere to be seen. Yes, tea is overproduced in the world, as we know of it right now, is that we have a couple of million kgs and tons that are actually surplus. And you would expect that this man called this man called Kunjuri, it will be at the forefront in addressing agriculture issues in this country.
Okay.
And most importantly, tea. This is good that Lesotho is telling us we can give you a market. They don't grow tea. As opposed to that, we've seen a lot of issues go in agriculture. We are fighting to build dams. We can actually say that that's in the irrigation docket. Fine. But when it comes to actually helping our farmers sell their products, sell their wares, do you think that this man called Peter Munya has done enough to market our products in Africa, especially when it comes to tea?
No, he hasn't. In the same proceeding, CS Munya said
Yes.
that the challenge we have with our tea and our coffee at the global market space is that they're not competing at the same level. And he said largely owing to value addition.
Yes.
It's not in the part of the processing, it's largely in the part of branding. The Lesotho thing is good, but if you're selling tea to Lesotho, the population is at 2 million. You know, that is like voters wa Kiambu. So it's not really a market that can sustain our output.
Yes.
I would really wish that we had someone from Korea coming for our tea.
Yes.
Then that one would mean it's a very agile market with potentials of growth. What we are really looking at is the entire agribusiness chain, the entire agribusiness system really needs to relook at how do we make it vibrant as a part of our economy that this entire sector can actually carry the wishes and can actually carry the output and the productivity and the aspirations of the farmer and the entire ecosystem within the agribusiness. But as at now, our tea is I hear is #1 in the world. But what are we lacking? What we are lacking largely is from the point of know-how in the farmers themselves. That in what other way can we add value in our tea as at now so that our tea can attract premium pricing? That is what we are lacking. In our country, in our economy, in whichever sector you look at, could be manufacturing, could be technology, could be sports, we are lacking that component of value adding on whatever we are doing outside what we are doing, because tea is not an end product in itself. The end product of that tea is in the lifestyle it evokes. A huge part of evoking that lifestyle is the packaging to suit the appeal of that lifestyle of the consumer. And that's why guys in Nairobi are buying coffee at 250 shillings. A mug of coffee. And they're calling it double. 250. Why? Because when I I'm in this establishment, I feel that this establishment corresponds with my lifestyle. So there is that component of value addition. Have we added the appropriate value that the global market space is looking for? A huge part of that is, can we relook at developing models around our branding strategies? Can we relook at developing models around our packaging strategies so that we can fit into the lifestyle and the preferences of the end consumer?
Yes.
Yes, Simba.
Richie, just 2 minutes, because I don't think we can close the show this morning without talking about this. We have 2 minutes just to clear this conversation. And I want to ask you this. Every Kenyan watches, we've seen deepening stories of exactly how Kenyans are losing their lives just because we have agencies that are supposed to be active within the economy and make sure that the food that we take is safe.
Sure.
Straight from all the agencies that we've been talking about this morning, to the point now that the only thing that Kenyans are waiting for is that every time there has to be a food scandal happening in the economy. I want to ask you a question this morning.
Please do.
Does it bother you, therefore, that a big scandal happens within the economy? All right? We have people speak about it. We have the same agriculture ministers who are telling you, I'm actually myself scared for my family because my family takes milk and they take ugali. And these are the same people who are supposed to actually take care of us. That's their job. As we speak of this morning, your top man is not addressed it.
Hasn't.
Not ever. Not ever.
Hasn't.
The second man, not ever. Even the right man in that docket has not. Even when KEBS talks about it and any relevant agency, they speak about it as watchers. We've also been told. Does it bother you? Who's sleeping on the job?
It doesn't bother me. It irritates me. It really irritates me. And it gets me mad. The problem is Kenyans are not people who get angry. I loved what they did for the ICPD conference thing when they expressed that these are our reservations. I wish we could have people who could be angry, really angry, to a point whereby some heads need to roll. If we need to impeach the presidents, then we impeach the president. If we need to get people out of their offices, because these are people who are earning a lot of money. These are people who are driving big cars. We are thinking that they are acting in our best interest. That thing and the entire story about food contamination is as deep as we can think it's as high as we can think. And it goes to this grain people, what do you call it? Kenya something.
Kenya Cereals and Produce Board, isn't it?
Yeah, KCPB.
Yes.
It starts with KCPB. It starts with the Ministry of Agriculture. It goes to Kenya Bureau of Standards, because the entire maze of all of this, that entire confusion is with government. And some people are trying to tell us now what we would call quote-unquote expert. They're trying to say, no, this is not a problem at NCPB. This is a problem that begins with the farmer. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? When you have sowed your grain of maize, it dies. So you coming to tell me that grain of maize still has within it that infection does not make sense. We are trying to apportion blame where that blame should not fit. If you tell me subsequently that the chemicals that we are applying matters, then we ask ourselves, then who has brought in this fertilizer? It's government still. So is it that government is trying to do this? Because the mere fact that the president has not spoken about it, the president or even the people working around the presidency, the people that are handling his social media pages have not even expressed something that we would say, oh, the president has gotten notice of this. Then what we are trying to say is that we are waiting for a day whereby Kenyans, especially the middle class, will get angry with some of these things. Yesterday, there's a joke I saw somewhere where there is a lady who was saying that thank you, President Kenyatta, for hosting this thing. And everyone was saying, I hope, madam, you didn't give him money. Don't give this man money. Don't give this man money. What we need is for us to stop expressing our indignation, to expressing our anger online, and make it felt physically, whereby people, we should go actually and camp around the president's office, or even camp at State House and tell the president this is not acceptable.
On that note, we take a short break. Once we come back, Metropole Sector Trends.